Alright, I'm just going to work on the astrodoodle here for a little bit. So hang out, check in, say hello to everybody. Alright, and we'll go from there. Let me just, let me just tidy things up here, okay? And we'll go for it from there. righty, let's connect a little bit, shall we? Hello, Necessary. Okay, I've got it. Thank you so much, Necessary. Thank you so much. Very kind. Hello, Ivona. First up, God. Obviously, you got your notifications working or something, or you just set your clock. Yeah. Yeah, I just, Necessary said, could I please take a little bit of a gander over here at the 17th. I'll have to pull out my ephemeris, check things. Might have to do it on the quiet, private, after the show or something. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. It looks like the stream is extremely slow or backed up. Let me just check over here. Path Traveler sets her clock. Okay. Okay, so just FYI, it looks like there's a huge delay. I don't see any interruptions with the streaming. It's very clean and crispy clear over here. All transmissions are good. All softwares are operating as well as they can. But it looks like there's an incredibly long delay through the YouTube platform for whatever reason. Anyway, this is the Astrodoodle, the way I see it for today. You know, I like to simplify things. Hold on, let me just check in with everybody. I forgot about that. Greetings. Yes, here we are. This is Terra Lumination. It's Sunday, 5th of February. It is a full moon. We've just passed the the actual exact degree mark. We've been building up to it, and personally, I've been watching this one quite carefully. I have personal interests involved in this one, of course. Path has actually asked, why is there so much talk about this Leo full moon? Well, I have my personal views. Some of them would probably get me into trouble, but I'm going to try and share my views personally. A lot of it is to do with the United States, this is my view, and the United States finances. Now, why would I even mention that? Let me do a really quick doodle over here. Maybe this will help. Now, some of you know that I have a little bit of my own way of doing some of these charts. Okay? Like, for example, when I'm working with private clients, I do multiple charts from different directions sometimes. So, let's take the United States. Born, let's say, technically, allegedly, 4th of July, 1776. That's the official, most acknowledged birth date. So what I would do here is I would mark Cancer on the horizon at 0 degrees. Let's just put it there, Cancer. Cancer sun sign, okay? And it's 4th of July, so it's kind of in the middle degrees. I forgot the exact degrees. I don't have them on me right now, and I'm not going to bother to look them up. But this would be the first house, okay? And the sun in Cancer is going to be in here somewhere. That's the sun, and this is the icon for the sun. So, let's just say this is the U. Let me do this. Yeah, this just look like this. This is the USA. 4th July, 1776. I don't know whether anyone else thinks about it the way I do. There's thousands of astrologers out there now. Maybe they're just talking about it because it's the full moon. There's nothing else to talk about or something. Or some of these channels have figured out, oh, everybody talks about the full moon. I better talk about the full moon too, you know. Years ago when I started, there were only a few astrology channels and a few tarot channels. Now there's thousands, okay, of each. So, here's an ultra-simplified chart for the United States. When I look at it this way, I see another aspect that shows up very strongly. and that is the second 8th house axis. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So this is the first house. I'll put that as 1. This is the second house. This is the 8th house. Okay? Now, in the way I do astrology, for a situation like this, something that concerns everybody, I would be looking at the subject of money and the versions of other people's money. And this is a very highly stressed axis right now. Okay, this would be in Leo. And this would be in Aquarius. Okay. So, it's also, this particular full moon is highly conflicted with Uranus and Taurus, which again is about money. So that would be over here. Okay. March in the 11th house. So let's just dot these lines in here. Now, I don't know if you're going to see this anywhere else on YouTube or other astrologers for that matter, but this is how I see it. So this is the 11th. Okay, and that in this chart, that is Taurus vibes. And it's in the 11th house about hope for humanity, about, let's say, community, about dreams and wishes for how things could be before everything like falls apart. And when you look at the planets, it's like this. Today, right now, this, see this big fat red triangle here? You see this big fat red triangle here? And it's a match. Okay. This basically sits, I don't know, please bear with me. I don't have computer softwares that'll do this for me, but can you see how, the way I've kind of got it lined up here, do you see how this aligns with this over here? This would be Aries. This would be Aries. Okay? I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well. This is what's going on in the solar system, in the heavens, with the sacred geometry today, right now. And we've been building up to this moment for the last 2 weeks, but it's been very high pressure over the last, I would say, 5 to 7 days. And there we go. Now, on this axis here in this chart, this is the global financial axis here. So you can see on a global scale, the global financial system is under incredible stress right now. Here. This is for the USA. Let's do it like this. The United States financial axis is under incredible stress right now. Now, why do I say that? Well, it's pretty obvious. The American financial banking monetary system is built on, let's say, what's a nice word? An imaginary, let's say, like a, it's almost like a game. And so long as nobody asks questions, it's worked very well. They really accelerated the plan in 1913 when the American biggest bankers, like a cartel, came into existence, and they created mass debt on a mass scale for the whole country. Before 1913 in the Federal Reserve Act, it did not exist. Before 1913, there's what you would call traditional banking and what you call sound money. That would have been gold and silver. That was the currency. Currency was money, money was currency. Everybody knew where they stood. If you didn't have enough gold, you didn't have enough money. You can't print gold. So that became a problem for the government and the banks. And so they decided they were going to create a new system. And they've been, refining the system for over 100 years now. Basically about 112 years. And there have been different chapters in the evolution, but we've got to the point where their game is pretty much up. And it is collapsing and it is going to explode because it's all based on what amounts to a fraud. So there we go. The United States financial axis is under extreme stress. It's basically falling apart. The most obvious way to look at it is inflation and crippling debt. That's for the United States. And because the rest of the world pivots around the United States banking system, what goes on here affects everything here, which, of course, is what we are seeing across the planet Earth. And we are seeing multiple countries who are saying, enough is enough is enough. You guys are the root of the problem. It's not us, the American citizens. It's the American ruling elite. Okay? That's the Federal Reserve, the federal government, and the United States Treasury in collusion with the multinational corporations. They work their system to their advantage, to our disadvantage for we the people. And it looks amazing. And what it has allowed is radical, highly accelerated growth and expansion fueled by debt. It's no different from you are being born to parents and caregivers who've decided that we want our wonderful little creation to have a good life. So here's a bunch of credit cards. And just go spend and spend and spend and spend. And every time they spend, we'll say, okay, well, that one burned out. Here's another credit card. Oh, that one burned out as well. Oh, here's another one. We'll give you, we'll extend the debt ceiling even further and further and further. That's what the United States has done for itself and for the rest of the planet. The United States has sucked the whole of the planet Earth financial system into our own fraudulent system, and it's coming unglued, and it's going to have shock waves across the world, and it is going to crumble in ways that I don't think anyone has ever seen before, because the world has never been globally connected financially the way it is today. 250 years ago, when the United States existed, everybody was operating in small nation states, individual, let's say, completely self-contained enterprises called nations or countries. But with recent globalization over the last 40 years, those boundaries, good fences make good neighbors, those were erased. And so this thing that we have here, this beast, this monster, has infected all of this, and it's all going to come crashing down. Yay. And so what is the recipe? What happens when empires fail? Okay, you've probably heard this story many times. What happens when empires fail and they start to fail? The leaders become more and more desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. And there are two primary entities on Earth right now. One is CHINA, the other one is the USA, and they're both scrambling to accelerate the demise of their economies. They're trying to destroy their own economies faster than the other can destroy their economy. And it's deliberate. It's an acceleration towards war, because we can basically the idea is to demolish everything and then rebuild. There is some material that I've been posting recently, and I haven't posted it here on YouTube because Some channels can risk it. They get away with it. There are some channels that I watch that seem to have a complete green light for talking about the things that I want to talk about. But if I talk about them, there, okay? Tina Miller, boy, do I have a story. Oh, boy. Hey, Tina, good evening. So, Path Traveler, thank you for asking. I'm glad you kind of asked it, because otherwise I could have easily got sucked into a quagmire of self-pity and, a very myopic view of this full moon, because I have very deep personal connections with some of these aspects. So I take this very, very personally. But I'm here for you guys, and I think it's much better. I really thank you, Pat, because it immediately triggered well, wait. Let's recalibrate the language on the show right now tonight for you, the people. Okay? Yeah. So let me put this aside for now. Let me go over to here, and okay. Tina is going to do it in little chapters. So if it's got a story, if it's a really Shaggy Dog story, Tina, do it in little sections so we can all check in as we go along. I want to go back to the chart for a second. Okay. So if some of the astrologers, they have all these super high-powered softwares, and maybe one day I'll be able to afford one. I don't know. But right now I have to survive off a basic ephemeris, a lot of homework, tedious pencils and color pens and practice and intuition to come up with something like this. You notice that, if I was adding some of the asteroids and things, you might find more green stuff, with Pallas and Juno and Ceres and whatever. But this is hard enough to deal with just as it is, so I just stick this, okay? Oh, all right, thank you, Tina. I just saw that pop up on the screen. I'm going to make a mark over here for unnecessary treat. We're going to dive in. I have some questions about the 17th. Okay. And Tina's got something. Okay. Thank you, Tina. Super duper. Yeah, so what I found is that I am personally having to pay more and more attention to things that are off a little bit away from the tarot, sometimes even away from the astrology. Let me go back to here for a second. Let's have a look at this close up. I wanted to separate the houses a little more clearly so you can see them like a pizza, okay? Because all the planets are sort of lined up in a procession, and without these slices it just looks sort of like a blur. But now you can see over here, sorry, that's Mercury. What am I doing? Mercury and Pluto are very close. Sun is over here in Aquarius. This is about 19 degrees, so we're kind of slap in the middle. Saturn is in the high degrees. It's going to be moving into Pisces fairly soon. And we've got Venus and Neptune over here in Pisces. Jupiter in Aries, Chiron in Aries. North Node, of course, very, very important over here in Taurus. Uranus, bang in the middle. In Taurus, Mars in Gemini. So we've got some comfortable sextile here, and trine over here. Well, actually, it's That's a bit of a square, but the trine here. So that's okay. It's very nice. But the real energy is to do with this very harsh, big fat full moon T-square, which honestly, it actually involves Scorpio as well. You know, they don't put that on the charts. You won't see this anywhere. So I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it and be kind of a rebel. All right? I'm going to do this. How shall I do this? I've just invented a new squiggle. Okay. This makes it even more scary. It's not, I mean, these are loose, let's just say loose, very wide orbs. But in terms of the signs, we've got Aquarius, Leo oppositions. We've got Taurus, Scorpio oppositions. They're loose, but they're there. So you've got like what I call a loose, big, fat, grand cross. In fact, let's get even more scary. Oh, I'm glad I saved all this rather than putting it all in at first. It makes it more exciting, more of an adventure. So there's the global financial axis there, super hyper stressed. This is the world of other people's money, the big banking global cabal and the world of other people's money. And this is the world of sovereign wealth, real money, hard money, gold, silver, oil, gas, soy, wheat, corn, timber, orange juice, cement, things that you own of value. Do you have a generator? Do you have a backup power battery pack? Do you have food in your house to sustain you? Things like that, things of real value. Do you own your car outright? Do you own your shelter, your housing outright? Okay? This is the world of astronomical, out of control debt. And this is the world of bringing everything back into sovereign wealth and ownership. Okay? Oh no, what's up? Wait a minute, look at that. Hold on. Looks like Elio's pizza. Yeah, So Tina arrived in Hemis Springs at the same time as about 3 foot of snow. That's a lot of snow, if you're not used to it especially. Tina's used to it, okay? And you were hauling a 12x6 U-Haul up a mountain to 9,000 feet. Oh my God. Okay. And then you got stuck in a snowdrift and spent the night in your Jeep with 5 dogs. Oh my God. Talk about survival. Jeepers, man. Okay, just as a map reference, there's Albuquerque. Hemis Springs is right at the tip of my pen. So, oh my God, that's... So, Tina went from here to here in the middle of winter. Okay. Next day I got pulled out. Wow. I believe we all had discussed that possibility before you got on the road. Path Traveler says. I'm happy it worked out that you were only stuck one night. Honestly, to me that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. I've been stuck and buried in snowdrifts, but I've never had to stay overnight with 5 dogs in a vehicle with a snowdrift. And you got stuck at least 4 times the next day. Holy jeepers, my God. Yeah, but I guess you had to make the journey because you got that new gig down in Hemis, near Hemis. All right, we'll come back. This is something that we should actually see. What's happening here tonight, there are things that are going on here that I would love to share on the Terra Lumination private Zoom thing. And you've probably noticed that I'm not very good at setting up links and things. I've been trying to attach a link onto a little infomercial video for you, but I can't find a way to do it. So I'm going to have to guide everybody through like just verbal directions that there is a link in the description box below, theoretically every video and the about section, where you can go and click it and it will take you to the Terra Illumination Zoom. So all we need to do is schedule a time and a day. And what I would like to do is schedule for 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, 9th of February, if anyone's interested. Okay, I'm interested. I'm going to set it up. So I'll probably have to do lots of little mini repeat videos. Hey everybody, if you want to come and hang out on the private Zoom live, real time, no delays. If you want on camera, on microphone, open discussions, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, anyway, just a quickie thing about the astrodoodle here. So you can see everything spread out. So each planet more or less has just enough room to breathe. There aren't too many really heavy tight conjunctions. Each planet is kind of breathing openly. Mercury's open, Pluto, they're all open. So, and there's no retrogrades. So what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of what I would say movement of energy. And it's, again, I've talked about it before. Apart from Tina's situation where she got incredibly blocked with her travels, I use the analogy of pretend you're on a big open highway and there's not a lot of traffic, there's not a lot of road interference, and whatever traffic there is moving smoothly, all in direct motion, okay? I got stuck four times. Tina, the locally finally got sick of me when I got stuck without the U-Haul and had to call a wrecker. He got stuck. Oh my God. I ended up very sick for 2 to 3 days. Actually, Tina, Love Triber got very sick for almost a week. Well, more like five or 6 days. Tina, man, that's... Well, if any of that traveling happened during the last couple of weeks, Tina, it was all hyper-stressed anyway, because this is also to do with climate and weather. You might have noticed that it's not so much in the United States right now. We had the big thing in California, but in Chile, South America, and in New Zealand, they had catastrophic storms. Huge catastrophic storms that broke all records. Huh? Oh, do mass email. On February 1st, my old dog of 20 years old died. Oh. Tina, you've been under a lot of, I guess, just stress. The stress was heavily amplified for all the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leos, Scorpios, and Tauruses. And the climate has been under intense pressure, but I think we had some extreme versions just recently, and obviously it affected Tina personally. If I talk about all this 12th house Pisces stuff, that's going to be all the sickly stuff to do with Washington and government, and that'll make everybody nauseous. Let's just leave it for now, okay? I think we've talked enough about the chart. Oh, wait a minute. On the 5th, my mom's old Yorkie got sick, and he died in 2 days. Oh no! Yorkies are beautiful. I love Yorkies, and I had a German Shepherd when I was a young kid. Oh man. Okay, I want to get the gruesome, sad stuff about animals over with. I had some horrible experiences today just from reading. Actually, it was in the last couple of days. It makes me very... I have a real problem with... I mean, it sounds crazy. I have a problem with animals and animal abuse and animal abusers. And it doesn't make any sense because I eat meat. I eat meat more or less because I have to. Because if I don't, I'm already very skinny. And if I don't eat meat in enough quantity, I just become even more skinny. And I've never found a way to substitute it with a non-meat diet. Some people say fish is not meat. It's an animal, okay? Animal protein. Hello, Maria. So this is a couple of stories. It's about mountain lions. A few days ago, a very big, well-established mountain lion was taken out and killed by a group of permitted, licensed hunters. They proudly put up a photograph to display their kill. I'm almost 6 foot tall, and the guys were holding it up, and the lion, the head was above the guy, and the feet and the tails. It was like those pictures you see where fishermen show, like, hey, look, I got the biggest tuna ever. I got the biggest dolphin. I got the biggest shark. I've got the biggest mackerel ever. And, oh, look at me, I shot a polar bear. Oh, look at me, I shot an elk. And I killed a deer. Look at me, and it's the biggest one ever. Whoa! So I've never been a fan of sport hunting. I can understand certain situations of extreme situations where culling is required. All over the United States, wildlife management groups, they're supposedly supposed to look after brown bears, black bears, elk, cows, buffalo, sheep, and like for human use animals, and how that mingles in with wild animals like mountain lions, polar bears, black bears, elk, sheep, elk, wild boar, deer, moose, those kinds of things. And there's always this permanent, never-ending clash between human beings and wild animals. And it doesn't make sense, because I'm happy to be alive, but I always take the side of the animal. And with this mountain lion, they killed it because it was in a region that was very sparsely populated, but the inhabitants were complaining that they were losing random losses of pets, cats and dogs. And so the wildlife management people came in and said, okay, we need somebody to come in, step in, and get the animal. And so, anyway, it sent off some of these hunters. They were salivating for like the chance to go kill this huge, magnificent animal. And they got it. They killed it. And my personal feeling, it's not the animal's fault. As far as I'm concerned, again, judge me if you want, there's too many people, okay? We are the ones trespassing on animal land. That's how I look at it. That's how Native Americans looked at it. They probably still do. And I've never really been driven by the desire for maximum profit, maximum wealth, maximum ownership of as much stuff, land, cars, as you can possibly consume as a human being. I've been homeless multiple times. I've lived in a tent for 9 months because I had to. And mostly I am concerned about animals. I don't make it a profession or anything, but some of you know the stories where I've had people put in jail, evicted from their homes, arrested for animal abuse. And it gets me really fired up, and I've almost literally taken people out for being animal abusers. So I have to be very careful about guarding myself from these kind of stories, because it always makes my blood boil and I can't do anything about it. I've seen so many roadkills since I've been in Las Vegas. It makes me nauseous. So anyway, day before yesterday was the big lion and big lion in Colorado. And today there was a big celebration, like a funeral celebration for a beloved lion that lives in Los Angeles. His name is P22. It's well marked, well tracked. And he was a very old lion. Well, not very old, but he was a dominant mountain lion living in a vast range through greater Los Angeles. He was very famous and deeply loved. He used to like to hang around Griffith Park, probably because there's lots of little animals and birds and stray cats and, whatever, that make tasty snacks. But anyway, he was just living his life, and he had to cross the street, and he ended up turning into a massive piece of roadkill. And so the funeral was held today, okay? And again, I don't think it's the lion's problem. I think it's because humanity is grotesquely overpopulated. And we are grotesquely overpopulated because we can. We do it because we can. There's too many people who are making babies. I mean, it sounds really offensive. It sounds like I'm a really, really offensive person. But, there are a lot of people, in particular certain so-called wealthy countries, that get paid to make babies. No insult, but that's a fact. Okay, there are people who get paid to make babies. And it kind of distorts the natural growth of populations. I've showed you years ago, I showed you those population maps, and it's terrifying. We're now at just over 8 billion, and it's accelerating, okay? Even though the birth rates are dying down, there are still so many people making so many babies that the population is still going up and up and up and up and up and up. This is going to age me a little bit, but when I was a kid, there was just barely 3 billion people on Earth. Now there's 8 billion, and that's just in a matter of a few decades. To me, that's absolutely terrifying. I was talking to Love Triber earlier. I was commenting on how even when I was a little kid, I get very claustrophobic. I've learned how to control it very, very well, but I really don't like crowds. I don't like to be stuck in very tight places. It terrifies me. I could go full rage because it terrifies me. I've been to big pop and rock concerts. I went to a baseball game when I was a child, and I've been on very, very crowded subways and undergrounds in London. And all of that stuff to me was terrifying. And in the back of my head, I was always thinking, man, there's just too many effing people, And I've always, this is going to sound awful. I'm not going to tell this story. I have a lot of animal stories that it's probably better I'll just shut up now. Okay, let's keep going. All right, good evening. Okay. Oh, what's that, Pastor? Yeah, Tina, I'm sorry. That's just all. I mean, it's heartbreaking what you're dealing with, the loss of the Yorkie. How about the recent fashion show where they were wearing the heads of a lion? Oh, no. Don't say that. Wait, what's that? I'm just sorry. I gotta see this. What's this? What? Oh, I'm scrolling back from the chats here. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine. Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, Maria. Hi, Maria. I said hi. Pat, hi, Maria. I took him to the emergency vet, had labs drawn and x-rayed, and he had gone into congestive heart failure. Oh. He was obviously loved very much. He was 20 years old. That's actually pretty old for a German Shepherd. It was a German Shepherd, right? That says very well loved. Okay. The vet thought I could have been the high altitude on top of age that led to his death. Oh yes, I've been in some very high altitude locations, and I was not prepared. Man, it's like you're out of breath. You're just to walk across the, just to go for a walk. I can't handle animals in pain either, necessary truth. I'm sorry. Here's a very short story. I have had to, let's say, euthanize some large animals by hand. Okay, by hand. To put them out of their misery because of what certain people did to those animals. It was so disgusting, so shocking you wouldn't believe it. But when those people saw me, witnessing me putting that animal out of this misery, their jaws were just hanging, and I didn't say anything. I didn't go after them. They watched, and then they ran. Okay? Anyway, how about the recent fashion show where they're wearing heads of a lion? That's disgusting. I understand, like, there's certain very, very ancient cultures, like in the world of Native America and buffaloes. The buffalo was sacred. They would only hunt the buffalo out of need. And the Native Americans on that side of the country where there was a lot of buffalo, they would hunt the buffalo and they would use everything. The skin, the fur, all the bones, all the meat, all the fat. And they worshipped and celebrated the buffalo. They didn't treat it like some sort of sick toy or something. And they didn't, I know they probably just, took sorry. At least it wasn't a poison, especially long as pet. I can't. Imagine if we were hunted for no reason. Yes, it's very, very scary. Some of us have been victims of predators, so you know what it's like to be hunted. Yeah, okay, necessary truth. Agree, okay. Tina, yeah, I'll wait. I'll just go off, Tina. Go off to do your chores, and don't get stuck in the snow, okay? And we'll see you soon, okay? Two dogs, age 20, 1 and 15, died in 4 days. Yep, that's a lot of heart energy to handle. It probably happened very simultaneously with the death of these two massive, beautiful mountain lions. So, Tina, if it's any comfort to you, I was very shaken. I was very, very enraged and very shaken by the news that I stumbled on regarding these two mountain lions. And I saw 2 roadkills today, just in my little chores and errands around the area. Okay? Yeah. So, that's a very, very touchy subject for me. And I'm very tempted to go into the subject matter of it's very controversial. It's there's one word for it. It's very simple. It's called depopulation. So I want to go on while Tina's away. Okay, I just got a couple of things I'd like to share with you. Let me see if I can do this. Give me a second here, because I did make a note. Oh yeah, about the year 2025. Let's go over here. So Tina, if you missed this, no worries. You can see it again later, or we'll just talk about it over the next couple of years, because this is 2 years away from now. But it's time to mark your calendars. I want to thank Path Traveler in advance for this one too, and it really helped me accelerate my studies. But we are going to see the ingress of Pluto into Aquarius this year, just momentarily around the 0-degree mark. Not much, but enough to maybe give us a hint. It doesn't really happen until Pluto leaves Capricorn at the very end of 2024. So we've got almost 2 years to go with mostly Pluto in Capricorn. So during this 2-year period, we're going to be hovering around the 29-degree mark. This is like the critical degree. So during this period, it's going to be a very long, slow, painful 2-year period. The whole of planet Earth, all the plutocrats, the oligarchs, the megalomaniacs, the tyrants, the dictators, and all the people, the elites, the self-appointed, unelected elites who essentially own and control Earth, they're going to show signs of desperation as they try to maintain and hold on their power. That is what the expression of the 29-degree Pluto is going to look like, okay? So be aware. Advance notice. I mean, it's been building up for a couple of years already. 26 degrees, 27 degrees from the United States when January 2020. But we've got 2 more years, okay? Now, in those 2 years, we need to prep, okay? I'm sort of a prepper in my own way. My main concern is financial. The reason that I have to focus on finances because I have to figure out ways how to make do with very, 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 let's say, intense constraints. I'm very wealthy and fortunate in certain ways, but in other ways there are serious constraints. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do that and survive the long term. Meantime, there are more traditional prepping themes that we can talk about that we need to understand right now, okay? Number 1, the way I look at it is finances, prepping your finances. It's very, very important to look very closely at your personal finances right now. Just the way the global financial system is under extreme stress, whether you like it or know it or not, your personal finances are under extreme stress. You might not know it, you might be aware of it, but it is, simply because of the financial system in which we live. So you might want to find ways to decrease or eliminate debt of all kinds. In other words, credit cards, college loans, mortgages, car payments, and what's the other big one? Business loans, things like that. Or, credit cards for big stores. Anything that involves debt. If you can find a way to get rid of it or eliminate it, wipe it out, erase it, do it. Because things are going to get much worse financially going forward over the next couple of years, okay? Financial prepping, okay? Next, legal prepping. You might want to look at your life situation. How old are you? What are your expectations? What are your long-term prospects for revenue? What about your shelter? How are you going to prepare? Are you willing to downsize in order to get out of debt? That's what some people are doing. If they have like a house that's got $500,000 of equity in it and they're thinking, you know what, that's a pile of money. I could sell that $500,000 house for maybe $400,000, take the $400,000 and buy a little condo for $200,000. Okay, that's a form of prepping. Okay, things like that. Other people are relocating. Let me show you. I didn't prepare this properly, but I'm going to do this in a very improvised, very rapid manner here. Okay, here's the United States. I'm not talking about the rest of the world because the rest of the world is going to go through its own version of the same thing. But in the United States, we have populations here, 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 okay, that have certain radical demographics and politics, okay? It's the same over here, and it's the same over here. Some people love that stuff. There's a lot of people who are waking up and realizing this is not working. We are literally witnessing the demise of the United States live in real time. And there are people who are saying, I don't want any part of it. And they are literally selling up and moving out. A lot of them are choosing places like Texas and Florida, okay, Montana, Idaho, certain places, the Carolinas. This is a very, very high-value location for preppers, okay, because of the climate and the resources. There's plenty of water, there's plenty of open space, and you get a 4-season climate. and it's very, very it's very kind of traditional, patriotic, constitutional compared to these places here. And preppers typically tend to favor the United States Constitution. So Pinball Prepper did a fantastic map the other day. Hello, Karen. Man, luckily you didn't get those storms. Anyway, so I'm looking at the map right now. I can't see the chat very well. So with that ridiculous balloon story, it caused a tremendous amount of gossip and frenzied paranoia all across the United States, and it was like a viral frenzy across the world. What the hell is China doing, and all that kind of thing. And so Pinball Prepper created this awesome map, and he highlighted most of the nuclear arms storage and strategic locations in the United States, and there's several here, 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 and here, and so on. And so he said, okay, so those are the places that would most likely be targets from EMPs and from, huge hypersonic missiles flying from here, whee, all the way over to here. Or they can send it whee, over to here. So Americans got a huge wake-up call. They started, whoa, let's look up in the sky. What the hell is happening? That balloon came all the way from the Aleutians over to here, here, here. And Biden said, oh, let's shoot it down when it got here. It's one of the most pathetic decision-making trees I've ever seen in my life. It should have been shot down the moment it crossed here and the moment it showed up on the NORAD screens. NORAD already knew the balloon had been released from here way before it even reached the Aleutians over here. What did we do? It's pathetic. The United States is an embarrassment. It's pathetic the way it's behaving right now under the leadership. But again, it's all a kind of a collusion between here and here, because this empire is collapsing. And what do those folks do when an empire collapses? Desperate people do desperate things. They cannot stop the implosion of the American dollar. So they are playing the game as though they can. And it's going to lead to war. The same thing's happening over here. This place here is deliberately destroying its population and its economy. It's totally deliberate, and they're concentrating the remaining resources to the military, okay? Because they want to go to war, here to here, here to here, because they want to take over this. These folks here, the bosses, the leaders from here, they want all of this. They don't want just this. They don't want to just take down this. They want the whole freaking thing, okay? They're very ambitious. But for that to happen, we are enemy number one. They have to take us down. Right now, they're doing an incredibly good job of destroying the United States using unrestricted warfare, psychological, asymmetric warfare. It's embarrassing. And guess who is, let's say, the leading light of jamming the foot in the door so that these folks can attack us? He's been doing it for 40 years, and now it's in full open display across the whole of planet Earth that Uncle Joe is a traitor to our country in order to line his pockets with a few $1 million from these people so that these people can take all of this. It's really simple. War. Okay? We are already at war. This war here, by the way, that's going to escalate. It's going to expand. Okay? It's going to spread like a massive cancer. It's sucking in everybody and everything everywhere. It's affecting the whole global economy, and it will continue to do so. And then, as we get towards the 29 degrees, people are going to get desperate, okay? And then when Pluto transits into Aquarius, we've got 20 years of revolution, okay? And when Mars goes into, oh God, I shouldn't really be talking about this stuff. I'm gonna get in trouble. Yes, Karen. Precious! Oh, hi, Precious. You must be very cold up there in Canada right now. Gosh. Hello, Karen. Yes, you got it. Yeah. Do not do the super chat. Please do not do the super chat. Precious is desperate, but she's not acting on it. Oh, my God. I don't know. I can't handle any more readings. Okay, so we'll do Karen and then we'll do Precious, and that's it, okay? It's going to be overload for me. I'm already kind of on a sensory overload as it is. And then I'm going to put Precious over here. So Precious, if you got to go do stuff, go do it, because it's going to be quite a while before I get to your reading. So, there we go. I'm going to tuck this up a little bit higher. And I just want to fit these, make sure they fit on the screen. Okay, something like that. Something like that. Alrighty, that should be good. Alright, okay. Yes, please, Karen. Okay, thank you. Love relationships, okay. That's for Karen. Okay. Okay, I got the little note that I was going to rant about, and I think... Anyway, please, over the next couple of years, if you're not a prepper, you need to start thinking like a prepper. The best prepper channels that I know are one channel called Alaska Prepper, there's another one called Pinball Prepper, and there's another one called Southern Prepper. They're all quite different. There are lots of prepper channels out there, but I go to those guys because they have a very broad, comprehensive understanding, and they're not afraid to call out the truth, okay? A lot of prepper channels, they're just going to tell you how to store baked beans and how to create, create ways to store stuff and whatever. So prepping is more than just amassing a whole pile of long life food. Prepper is also about getting your affairs in order. It's also about preparing for what are you going to do with power outages? What are you going to do if the water gets bad? What are you going to do with electricity, or the internet goes down, or your phone service goes down? What are you going to do? Because you really got to think of that stuff. All right, I better be careful so I don't burn out or do anything, get into too much trouble. All right, I'm just going to put these away. Give me a second here. Okay, that'll be it for now. And I'm going to tuck this over here, tuck this over here. Now, February 17th, okay, Necessary Truth, you said 16th and 17th. Now, this is just going to be purely intuitive and tarot, because I'm not pulling up the astrology for it because I don't have the means to do so properly. The moon is going to be going into Capricorn for sure, and it's going to be a long transit. So we're going to have the Aquarius sun and the Capricorn moon. I'm just trying to see, and then January, February, moon will be in Aquarius on the 18th. And then we have the Pisces new moon on the 20th. All right, so for the 16th and the 17th, we're looking at the very final days of a lunar cycle, okay? Lunar cycles are highly predictable. We've just had the full moon moments ago. And over the next 2 weeks, we're going everything that built up to the full moon, all the subject matters that were very, let's say, I don't know, that came to light, let's put it that way. Now we have to integrate all that stuff, all the thing that's coming to light. So much SHIT is coming down the pipe, okay? It's like a massive global sewage spill, but especially for the United States and the particular leaders of this United States, the people who are supposedly running this country. They're a bunch of criminals, more than any other generation in American history. And they're finding it very, very hard to cover up the crime. Hunter himself has actually openly now confessed that, yeah, that's my laptop. Everything in it, it's mine. So are they going to be held accountable? Is that crime family going to be held accountable? We don't know. Because the whole of the American government is, all the establishment, it's completely and utterly corrupt, except for a small percentage and a handful who understand the real nature of this amazing country and who want to recalibrate and reclaim and reconstitute. So for the 16th and the 17th, we're dealing with if you think of it as a weather cycle or something like that. New moon, Aquarius new moon. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Here we are at the full moon. Oh my God. Do you see what happened over the last 2 weeks? Oh my God. So now what are we going to do about that? To the Pisces new moon over here, where things were going to go very, very quiet and mellow for a few days. For the 16th and the 17th, on this little pathway here, things might feel as though they're like, oh my God, I can't stop this stuff happening. Whatever it is. And it's going to be very serious. The moon's going to be in Capricorn. There might be a lot of, let's say, muted, constrained feelings about what's going on. And it's going to show up in the news world, in the corporate world, about what is not good. And then when the sun moves into Pisces and we get the Pisces new moon, which, what did I say? On the 20th. So when you get to the 21st and the 22nd, we're going to start to feel the Pisces new moon. And that's going to amplify for a 30-day period all the stuff going on in Pisces, where Venus is right now. So Venus is money, okay? Neptune is delusions and dreams and sickness. It's also ideals. It's heaven. But anyway, so Jeffrey, long time no see. Wow, yeah. So I would expect personally, I haven't done the reading. I'm going to do an actual reading for you, okay? Necessary. This will be personal. What kind of messages do you need to hear from the great beyond, from your invisible friends, from Chris and John, from me as an instrument of the healing power of love that is relevant and important and useful to you? Necessary truths, okay? You've asked, and so we'll do what we can to answer, okay? We're just going to completely trust in the process. Bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the computers, the microphones, the monitors and the screens, all the cables, the electricity, all the multiple softwares, the lighting, the power, the platform itself. Just be grateful that we have any of this at all. All right, necessary. What kind of messages do we have for you? Now, it's a specific date, but that specific date, 16th and 17th, the Capricorn moon will be there. But also, I believe, let me check Pacific time. Yeah, the moon will be direct. It'll be a full moon. It's not going to be a moon void or anything like that. It will, yeah, you're good. The moon will go void in Capricorn very late, but so that's not going to bother you at all. We're going to be dealing with daytime issues, okay? Okay? All right, what messages do we have here for necessary truth regarding that particular date? It could be business, it could be relationships, it could be personal, deep personal private matters, maybe health, maybe security, maybe peace of mind, maybe how to increase your, I don't know, psychic defenses, could be anything, okay? Okay, so let's not put any kind of limits on the subject matter here, all right? Everybody here knows that Necessary Truth is a very capable psychic medium in her own right. And is fully aware of these so-called multidimensional energies and forces that exist above and beyond 3D reality. And that's why we're all here, because basically everyone here operates at these kind of higher frequencies anyway. That's just how we are and who we are. You know, alcoholics hang out with alcoholics, abusers with abusers, pedophiles with pedophiles, and so on and so on. Oh my gosh, did you see... I'm not going to talk about it. I wish Love Triber was here and she could explain the thing in the chat about what was witnessed on Newsmax. They brought up a clip about some very hard investigation direct talks between a Newsmax reporter and Mr. Gates, Mr. Bill William. And they kind of sideswiped him. And he got very, very, very uncomfortable when they started asking questions to do with Mr. Epstein and their nefarious activities, all their kinky perverts and stuff that they do. All right, anyway, let's forget about that. I'll have to talk about that through other... Also, we'll save all that kind of stuff for our show on our live private thing on Thursday. All right, here we go. All right, Necessary, here we go. Let's have a look. Going to use the same old spread. And let's pull it out here. Okay, here's the situation. Let's have a look at the situation itself. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. And this is regarding that particular time and day. And let's look at external influences. It could be anything. I'm going to probably defer to the planets. We'll see. But I don't have charts in front of me right now, and I don't have the means to pull them up right now. All right, so with the Six of Swords here, my first impression is that it would be very, let's say, to your advantage to extricate yourself from anything and everything that is, let's say, not absolutely essential to your life right now. It's almost like I'm going to go straight over here. Hold on. What I'm really seeing with this Six of Swords is downsizing. But I'm seeing it from a very broad perspective about how to strip away anything that is superfluous and get down to the real core essentials. Now, that can include, number one, attitudes and belief systems. It's time to clean house, discard any kind of, let's say, compromised or heavily compromised belief system or accommodations that you have been kindly offering to the world or to other people to, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? Out of kindness, out of forgiveness, because you don't really want to hurt anybody. All right? But with the Six of Swords, my feeling is that it's just like it's like the whole of planet Earth is being tested, and all of humanity is being tested. Like, do you really need 3 cars? Do you really need to have the fanciest, most expensive house on the street? Do you really feel that you need to buy $1,000 worth of Christmas presents or birthday presents for friends and family or whatever? It feels to me like it's stripping down, getting rid of redundant relationships, redundant work situations, redundant material, dead weight from the past, like clearing house, like clearing out a kitchen drawer and just getting rid of anything and everything that you could call clutter. Psychological, emotional clutter that you don't need. It's almost like what I'm talking about, like preparing, like preparing for war. Okay? I do believe that we're heading for a World War III. And if you don't start planning now, you're going to get caught out big time. When the US dollar goes, when it finally implodes, which isn't going to happen just click like that. There will be a certain specific day astrologically, just like the day in 1971 when Nixon said to the gold standard, and also in late 2008 when the great financial crisis occurred. You just have to watch the movie Margin Call, or you have to watch the movie The Big Short to understand that time compresses around certain catastrophic events where you can't see it coming, you can't see it coming, you can't see it coming until it's right there. Okay, that happens financially. Okay, it happens with the stock, the Dow Jones, the S&P index, with your retirement portfolios, your relationships, your personal finances. All of that stuff is in jeopardy, and you need to get on it now. Capricorn is very much a business thing. Maybe it's a work situation that we're talking about. The Six of Swords here I'm seeing is a very big, broad energy, but we have to distill it and focus it down into that one moment. It might be an idea to really look at that day, try and notice whatever it is that's happening to you or for you on that day, and see how this reading resonates. But what I'm sensing is like just jettison anything and everyone and anything that is no longer, let's say, appropriate or healthy or comfortable or suitable for life going forward when you get into the Pisces new moon. Okay? Got to prep it now. Okay? All right, let's go to the actual reading. Okay? All right, so what's the situation itself? Okay, here's another one. Somebody talked about the collective there. So on the channels that I watch and the things that I study and the things that I'm doing for myself anyway, I'm already way, way ahead of all of this. I don't have any debt. I hardly have any possessions. I do have overheads, and I honor those as well as I can every day, every week, every month, okay? But I deliberately created a life starting years and years ago where I removed debt of all kinds from my life, person-to-person debt, emotional, psychological, financial debt. I just obliterated it, and I didn't even file bankruptcy. I just made a decision one day, that's it. I would rather learn how to live in freedom and totally debt-free. Now, there are certain situations where debt is acceptable, but for me, not. So even if this includes debt, if you can find ways to get out, streamline, pull your money out of anywhere and anything that is in jeopardy right now. Some of the people that I watch are basically saying, get your money out of the banks. Turn it into paper cash. Buy gold, buy silver, buy hard assets. If you got a lot of money, buy very, very high value, low cost, high value piece of livable property. maybe a prepper property, maybe downsize dramatically and get a little tiny place somewhere up in Vermont or Maine or Idaho or somewhere or something like that. I don't know. It's just big, broad things. Downsize. Imagine if you had to leave your house with one large backpack and one large suitcase on wheels. What would you take with you? Okay, let's have a look at the situation itself. Kerblam! The sun. This is kind of an idiot-proof card. It's almost like you are protected. Now you said something about the collective here, but this is Necessary Truth reading about the 17th. I would personally take this as like a good omen that you're already kind of aware of what I'm talking about here, and you just needed affirmation that you're already on path, doing the right things for you at the right time, for the right reasons, with the right people. Okay? And do not apologize. I would say go big. Remember, this is almost like Leo energy, the sun here. Really, go big. Like if you are going to downsize, seriously downsize. If you're going to completely restructure your finances, do it in a spectacular, glorious manner with no apologies. If you're going to recalibrate your locations or health or starting new career paths or anything like that, embrace it in its full glory. Grab everything that you can. For example, pay rises or money or anything like that. Go for it. And make a vow with yourself to prioritize your own joy and your happiness as number one. And anything that threatens or obstructs your personal deepest joy and happiness needs to be eradicated, eliminated. You don't need it. And when you get to that point of a radical, let's say, in a very Capricorn, responsible kind of way, getting to the point where, wow, I've really lightened up my life. Like living very, very light can make you feel very, very free. When you feel very, very free, it creates the endorphins, the dopamines, and all those happy chemicals inside of you. And you need to maintain that and keep that. It's almost like from now on, you personally, Necessary Truth, you're not allowed to let yourself be compromised by external forces that you know are not good for you. Let's see, what's the problem here? Okay, this is a very grand or grandiose kind of reading, but let's just do it anyway. Okay, it's understandable fear. This is, again, probably for everybody. If you're not aware of it now, you will be very soon. The United States economy is crashing. It is crumbling. And we only have ourselves to blame. Not necessarily we the people, because most of the people here we just want to have, our lives. None of us can control the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, or the federal government. The nearest thing we have is our vote. But even that is questionable. So, with the Five of Pentacles here, to me this is indicating a deep fear that, am I still too heavily entwined with loser relationships or losing financial situations or financial situations that are unrecoverable? Am I going to have to go down with everybody else? That is a fear, okay? Now, everybody, for example, in the traditional stuff, what do they call it? 401ks, IRAs, retirement plans, pension plans, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all those big things that are all to do with OPM, South Node, Scorpio stuff. That is in jeopardy for the whole of the United States. See, you're not alone, okay? You are not alone. You don't have to be scared because millions and millions of other Americans are just as scared as you. That's if you are scared at all. So if you have a bountiful opportunity or situation that is coming to you, and it is available, and it has all the key elements that lead to something good and solid and happy. And even if it's short term or whatever, even if it's a radical shift from how you are right now, grab it. Understand that almost everybody in America is going to be suffering losses, okay, in some form or another, because of inflation. Inflation is theft. Inflation is robbery. It's the destruction of value orchestrated by our Federal Reserve banking system, the U.S. Treasury, and the federal government. You're not alone, so don't be scared. So how are we going to go forward dealing with all this stuff? Because it is tough. Part of it is just like, okay, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Yep, we're going to go for it. We're going to prioritize happiness, okay? Like a power, this card powerfully endorses this card powerfully endorses this card. Please do not apologize for being happy. Please, necessary truth, do not apologize for having more than others, having bounty, having abundance, having the healing power of love flow through you like a current. Allow yourself, give yourself permission to, let's say, it's almost like you might feel embarrassed, like, wow, I've got so much. When I look at my life from a certain perspective, I am already incredibly happy. I'm already incredibly lucky. Yes, I could tap into the global negativity about global finances, but in certain ways, I have so much, and I'm so gifted compared to others. I have a right to be happy. I have a right to continue to be happy, and I have a right to be very selfish about my happiness, and that I deserve it. I've created this, I've earned it, I've deserved it, not just in this lifetime, but many, many lifetimes to get to the point where you are today, okay? That's for you personally, okay? Necessary truth. So, don't be scared, don't be shy. Like, it could be very liberating for you, okay? Now, I don't know how this will translate, but just soak it in, okay? How would you maybe stretch it out for a few years? Because I'm planning up until 2044, okay? My biggest priorities over the next 2 years are, how the hell am I going to survive? Can I keep my little channel going? Right now, I don't seem to have a lot of options. I've got some professional help. I'm hoping to get more professional help and see if there's a way to salvage the algorithm here. But right now, so I'm at a point where, kind of like the Epoch Times, or like, what's the other one? There's certain sources that I really value where the only way you can get them is through donations. So I'm probably going to reinstitute an active donation campaign above and beyond just asking for donations when I do the readings, okay? So anyway, we'll see about it. But we're talking about radical changes. So for you, necessary truth, it might be an idea to plan on an adventure and look around, like, how can I just get rid of dead weight? Stuff that really, really doesn't matter. People get very attached to material things, material circumstances, material expectations, material relationships, material stuff, things, treasures. And some of them have value, some of them have less value. Some people, when they're close to death, for example, they don't care about money anymore. What they want to do is have a last look at they pull out their, wallet or something, and they look at pictures of their family, because that counts. Or they want a last minute cuddle with their favorite pet, because those are the things that count in the end. It's the love, okay? So anyway, optimize love, optimize happiness. Anything that obscures that, dump it. Dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it. Downsize, travel light. Streamline, and start prepping. prepping for what lies ahead. Okay, thank you very much. Tina is, let's wait for Tina because she might still be out with groceries. Karen, let's do a reading for Karen now. Karen is over there, and I'll just show you. I'm going to take out the map. Let's hold on. Let's clear the charts or the cards here for a moment. All right. I hope that helped you, Necessary Truths. Okay. Okay, I'm going to shuffle this a bit more, but Karen, okay. Some of you know, of course, that Karen is over here in beautiful New Zealand. Now, some of you also know that New Zealand had its biggest weather event in recorded history just a few days ago. The map is not focusing very well, is it? There's Auckland, way up north. It got hit by the massive atmospheric river, flooded the whole place, okay? So New Zealand is not immune. New Zealand has had its upheavals. The Prime Minister of New Zealand just spontaneously resigned. Some people are saying good riddance because they see her as a hardcore commie lefty globalist. Some people are saying, oh, poor thing, she was so sweet and so kind. You know, what do you do? She has her reasons. Maybe she was secretly being booted out. Who knows? But anyway, Karen, I'm hoping that, Karen, you managed to avoid the storms because you're, you know, a fair bit further south, okay? I hope you're doing okay. Let's have a look here. Now, relationship dynamics. Let's have a look here. Okay, dear wonderful invisible friends. Karen, I hope you're comfortable and happy and feeling all warm and fuzzy with your summertime and that you're enjoying summer while you can. Now remember, tonight there's a very long delay on the show for whatever reason. I can't remember if you said you had to go out, Karen, but if you had to go out, you're going to get your reading anyway, so don't worry. If you're not actually witnessing this live at the moment, no worries. Now, I think we've done certain relationship dynamics before. I know you have a family. I also know you have some very significant business relationships with the art community of New Zealand and the curators and the bosses who deal with that stuff in New Zealand. And sometimes things have been a little contentious for you. I know that. Because you're very strong-minded and you've got a very strong business acumen. And why mess with that? Why not play to the strengths? I think I might have shown pictures or something, or videos or something about your place where you... It's like a gallery, okay? Karen specializes, in case you're not Karen specializes in... like a very unique Maori art that's based around some of the plants in New Zealand from the Maori culture. And she and her team and her company are renowned for that. All right, cards are well shuffled. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card. Let's see what comes up. It's very hot and muggy. Yeah, I bet. Of course, you live right by the ocean. All right, here's the situation with the relationships. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. Okay, let's have a look at what about surrounding circumstances. Okay, so I've got the Three of Pentacles here. So this might be something to do with a working relationship, or it might be the relationship dynamics in terms of what you might call a work in progress. And when I'm looking at this, it makes me feel like it's kind of awkward in that when you have enterprise, like one of the themes behind this card is the building of cathedrals, the building of abbeys, the building of beautiful old buildings that celebrated their Lord, their Maker, sometimes religious. And these buildings were built in a time where architecture and building was the paramount enterprise of everything. And so you had stonemasons and cutters and timber workers and sculptors and everything. And then you had the designers. And the thing is, here's the tricky part about this card. It all works very, very well so long as everybody realizes that we all need each other. The craftsman is probably very, very gifted at who they are and what they do and how they do it and why and where and when. But as a craftsperson, as an artisan, a lot of times they're working under the direction and the instruction of, let's say, the architects. Now, the craftsperson could probably go off and build a beautiful house of his own, but it wouldn't be a church or a cathedral or something. And he might not have the same design ideas. And now also with the like the architects and the designers here and the people who have the wishes of a certain outcome, they can't do it without the artisan. So it's like they're tied together in a business. They can't achieve their goal without the artisan. The artisan can't achieve their goals without the architects. So they're entwined like in a business relationship. So there's the value of Karen. There's the value of the other party. And if you want to, you can just engage back and forth. But you know, when I do crucible readings, I create a third entity called the relationship itself. And so what we would be concerned about here is the value of the relationship itself. In other words, it's almost like in a situation like this, it's important to have a very clear understanding of the structure of relationship, and so that you can start to define the value of the relationship. And the value of the relationship would be apparent from what is working and what is not working. Because whatever is not working is detracting from the value of what does work. That's where things get tricky, because let's say if there's contention here, let's say the craftsperson is saying, well, dear architects, thank you very much. It's a great idea. You want me to make all these squiggles and a tower over here. That's great. But I'm telling you right now, if you want me to do it the way you want to do it, it's going to fall over in 5 years. And then the architects say, well, that's stupid. I know I made one. I'm sure it would work. It looks really cool on paper. And then the artisan says, well, if you want, I'll do it, but it's not on me. I'll sign a waiver. I'm not responsible for the bad outcome of your decisions. And the story can flip the other way too. The artisan could say, I'm going to do it this way. And then anyway, it could get very messy, okay? So the third entity is the relationship itself. There's you, Karen. There's the other party, and then there's the third entity, the relationship. And that's the concern here. So let's have a look. What's the situation with the relationship? Okay, it looks like things are very much up in the air here, and you might not be in control of certain things. There might be, like I would say, events or circumstances or things that are out of your control that might make you feel as though the relationship that you're talking about here is either got a mind of its own or a destiny of its own that's very hard to pin down right now. And for better or worse, like it might have all the ingredients of being really amazing, but it can't manifest properly until, let's say, the fragilities of the relationship have been identified and, let's say, understood and honestly accepted. Like if someone is at fault, like if you're at fault about something, it needs to be understood and accepted. What are you going to do about it? If the other party is at fault about something, that needs to be understood and something has to be done about it, because it's going to destroy the relationship itself. And the key thing here is that it looks like what ultimately is desired is to have success. And if success is based on the condition and the health of the relationship, you've got to look at the relationship. So you, Karen, are part of it. The other party is part of it as well. And part of it is good. In other words, there's a good side to this where everything is perfect and exactly as it should be. And why is that so? Well, it's because it can't be any other way. Earth, air, fire, and water are all lined up perfectly, exactly the way they should be for this relationship right now. The question is, does it actually match your expectation of what the relationship could or would or should look like? Or does it match the expectations of what it could, would, or should look like according to the other person? So that's where there might be some ambiguities. So two vibes I feel going with this, where it's just like everything is just right, and you just have to kind of trust and let things evolve and let the fates take you where it will. Trusting in yourself, trusting in the relationship, trusting in the other party. Now that's sometimes very, very hard to do. It's almost like having to believe in something, you know. Of course, it's also, I don't want to put a bad spin, it's also potentially very vulnerable, okay? Like just anyone or anything could knock it off track. And that's why you have to identify the fragilities. It's like having a really honest, you know, what do they call it? A kitchen table meeting between yourself and the other and the self. In other words, you got to put this stuff on the table. We got to hash this out. We got to talk this out. Because you can't keep going the way things are going. You can't. The artisan cannot function on autopilot. The architects and designers can't assume anything on autopilot. You have to connect. You have to connect in the middle through the third entity, the relationship itself. And that's where people come unglued, because they don't want to do the tough work of relationship dynamics. Anyway, what's the problems here? Well, it looks to me like you really, really want to get things going, but you might feel restricted. Maybe the other party is holding back time or energy or resources or commitment or something, or spite, or it could be anything that jeopardizes the active potential and flow of something that could potentially be really good, or something that's already good that's gone sour and needs to be rekindled. So, but it feels to me as like there's something potentially good going on here, but there's a lot that's up in the air. And if it's not figured out in a very, very, really, really, let's say blunt, open, honest, like business discussions, if the business of the relationship, even if it's a close, intimate relationship, it's almost like you have to think of it as a business, the business of the relationship. Define the nature of the relationship. Once everything's figured out, then things can start rolling. Or do you feel like you're in charge of the relationship? Or is the other person in charge of the relationship? Or is the relationship leading you? Is it completely out of control where you have no say or anything? Okay? Hey, Jeffrey, sorry I didn't connect with you, but we'll try another time. Hello, Amber. Welcome. I'm not taking any more readings tonight. Okay, I got more than I can handle as it is. Well, I got enough. I can handle this. Okay? But for hang out with us, Amber, okay? So, yeah, this looks to me like it's a serious reality check when it comes to the relationship itself, the relationship dynamics itself. And the reality check can only be, let's say, determined by the deliberate coming together of you and the other party. Let's sort this out. Let's work this out. so we don't get stuck, so we don't have to simply rely on fate or, let's say, stuff that's hidden that could, like some people know that there's a problem, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it because it's too awkward or embarrassing or challenging. And so they continue. And what that does, it acts like slow poison for the relationship, which turns into slow poison for the purpose and the business of the relationship. Not good. So how are we going to deal with this going forward? Six of Swords. Okay, if you're going to do something where you're going to analyze the relationship and do a face-to-face, a heart-to-heart kind of thing between you and the other party, even if the other party is a business group or something like that, I would say with the Six of Swords here, you really need to kind of do a cleansing like we talked about earlier, like put everything on the table and just discard anything and everything that is not absolutely 100% directly relevant to the business of the relationship, to the purpose, the meaning of the relationship. Everything has to go. You can't afford to carry dead weight at all in any way, shape, or form. Okay? You've got to cleanse, clarify, make things very, very clear. Planning for the future. Planning for the future. What are you going to take with you? Imagine if it had to be all squashed into a large backpack and a large suitcase on wheels. That's whatever the business is, whatever the relationship is. I'm talking in metaphors here, okay? So I'm hoping you can translate that, Karen, in a way that makes sense to you and go from there. I'm not saying completely throw away a relationship and just abandon it. All I'm suggesting here is get rid of anything and everything that is dead weight, unnecessary, unresolved. If there's things that have to be resolved in order to move forward, resolve them so it's not dead weight anymore. And you'll be fine. It might mean severing certain people, cutting off certain people, certain groups, certain entities, a certain individual, or putting them in their place and saying, like, you've got your life, I got my life, but we have the relationship, so you mind your own business, I'll mind my own business, and we will make the relationship work, but it's only going to work under certain very specific conditions. Very, very specific. Like with the Six of Swords here, you might want to list the number one, create a little constitution. The six, like the Bill of Rights for your relationship. Number one, blah, 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 blah. We need truth, honesty, and open, immediate disclosure. Number two, we need financial common sense. Number three, we need to have a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting. Number four, things like that. Create these things that are kind of like what do they call it? A mission statement. Mission statement for the business. Put it on paper and that both sides agree. You and the other and you. So you have something that you can turn to. You create like a little mission statement, or like the Constitution. Like America, we have the Bill of Rights. We have the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. And go up to number 6, put it on a piece of paper, stick it on the refrigerator with a magnet or something. And you can use that as a reference point, like months or weeks later. You can say, hey, wait a minute, we talked about all this stuff. It does not fit with our Constitution. So we have to figure this out. Okay? I hope that helps you, Karen. I guess in a nutshell, this is about creating a constitution for the relationship itself, where both parties have to agree and abide by the Constitution. All right? Thank you, Karen. Tina, are you here? I wonder if Tina is still here. If she's still out doing chores, then we'll go to Precious Moments. So Precious is right there. I see you. Let's just check. Let's just hang for a little bit here. Thank you, Karen. It's a pleasure to read for you, as always. So Amber, if you're new, just hang out, enjoy. Just let's see what we do, how we do it. Thank you for popping in to visit. If you want to donate, go to terralumination.com. I'll show you. Everybody knows already, but I'm just going to show Amber. Okay, there's the Terralumination website, terralumination.com. In future, Amber, if you want a reading here on a Sunday night live in front of everybody, go to terralumination.com, throw in a bunch of money, and it'll show up here, and then you'll get your reading. Also, of course, if you want to, you can do full in-depths, you can book private readings and all that kind of stuff. Thank you, Amber. Okay, let's move on. Let's go back over here for a second. I have a feeling that Tina is still out doing chores. Okay, let's just shuffle up. Precious, if you're here right now, we could just read for you right now. How about that? And we will take care of Tina later. Tina has had a tremendous amount of stress in the last week or two. Staggering amounts of stress. That's on top of the real estate issues. Good night, Path. Spiky headaches. Oh, God. That's tricky. I had to take a bunch of aspirin earlier today. And it did clear up my headache. I don't like taking pills if I don't have to, but I have to take pills. Anyway, I'm very grateful. Alright, the chat seems to be very stationary at the moment. I guess I'll just... You know what, Precious? Are you here? Are you still here? Because I think what we'll do is... I haven't seen anything from Tina, so let's put you over here. Alright, Precious, you ready? I know you've been under tremendous stress, and I think you said something earlier about the kids are starting to grow up and be like real teenagers. What is it? Where is it? What did I miss? Where is it? Where is that? No, I can't find it. Oh, there's one. Oh. Ran out of oil, ran out of heating oil. Ouch. In the winter. Oh, you're in New Hampshire now? Wait a minute. Can I meet? Oh. You're desperate, but you're not acting on it. Okay, that's good. In other words, you're not a victim. So it sounds like you're in New Hampshire. Well, that gets really cold in winter, but you're already used to that. So, Precious, I don't see any notes from you here. I don't see anything on the chat. I'm just going to check something. I just want to see something here. Gosh, yeah, the stream is extremely delayed. Sorry about that. Okay, so, you know what? I feel like probably the best thing to do is if I just hang out with you guys until I see something from Precious or Tina. God, it's already Amber. Amber, okay, well, any messages from Spirit? You know what? Give me a second. Where is it? I'm just going to do a tiny little quickie here for Amber. So right now, folks, we're waiting for Precious Moments and for Tina. I need to see them back on the chat so I know they're there. The delay is very long tonight. Amber just put a little bit in the super chat, so let's have a look. Return of Spirit Guidebook. I'm just going to do a random one-card little mini reading for you, okay? For full readings, most people put $10, $20 in on my PayPal, okay? And if you do or if you want like anyway, I don't want to jump ahead, but Amber, if you're interested, go look at tarotlumination.com if you want to go deep down, heavy duty, relationships, love, finance, health, and all that. I will do the astrology and the tarot combined, okay? So this is like a mini micro reading. It's just going to be an oracle, a one-card mini oracle reading. Messages from Spirit, okay? I'm using the Return of Spirit deck specifically. I haven't done oracles in a long time. It's a completely different vibe for me. But heck, why not? Just for thrills, okay? I'm hoping my hands hold out. I've had a lot of problems with... anyway, it's just... Alright, let's not talk about that. So, Amber. What do we got going on here? I'm going to just put these under. We got a little mini oracle reading for Amber. What kind of messages do we have for Amber? I'm going to pick one card. All right. It's going to be the top card. Thank you, Amber. This is your message from Spirit. Look at this beautiful card. I hope it gets really tight focus. But you get the idea. The message is the theme of confidence. Now I'm going to go to the book. I'm just going to read from the book. Here we go. Dear Amber, perhaps you are not aware of how great you really are. Maybe you have been doubting yourself or your purpose in life. Have you been questioning whether you are enough, good enough, able, or worthy? In some way, you are in need of a confidence boost. And this is Spirit's way of telling you that you are doing just fine. Spirit believes in you, and you need to believe in yourself too. It'll take time and effort on your part, but the rewards of having self-confidence will be well worth it. You may not do things perfectly. Of course you're going to make mistakes, but mistakes are simply opportunities to learn how to do things differently. It's always easier to see the greatness in others. Seeing another person's gifts, talents, abilities, and successes is much easier than seeing our own. This is a cosmic mirror from the universe, and it is reflecting back to you all of the incredible qualities that you really do have. You see? There it is. Proof, right? Sometimes you just have to fake it till we make it. And that's what you are being asked to do. Just try on this suit of confidence. See how it fits, see how it feels. You do have what it takes, just remember that. You are just as gifted and wonderful as any other person. Now it is time for you to feel confident about you. It's important to note, though, of course, that too much confidence or over faking it can actually come across as arrogance. I don't see that happening with you. I added that. Heaven knows that you are far from arrogance, so go gently with it. It isn't about proving anything to yourself or anyone. It's about knowing that you are important in Spirit's grand plan and that you are worthy. You are worthy, you are deserving, you are open to receive. You are ready, you are willing, you are able to receive. I'm going to go over that with you in a little bit. Stay there. Who you are and what you have to offer is so very important. It's time for you to believe in you, the way Spirit believes in you. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a little mantra, and you need to recite this multiple times, like 3 times in a row to yourself. Okay? I would advise you to write this down on paper if you can right now. Say this to yourself 3 times over. And then once a day for like the next week or so. Okay? And see what happens. Actually do it for 2 weeks. Build up now. Anyway, just do it. Okay? On a regular basis. Here we go. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am open to receive. I am ready. I am willing. I am able to receive. Okay? Now, what does that include? Well, I would say number 1, the healing power of love. Look at it that way, okay? I am going to tell you directly that you are worthy, you are deserving, you are open to receive, you are ready, you are willing, you are able to receive the good things in life, the healing power of love. Allow yourself to become an instrument of the healing power of love. Ask for the healing power of love to fill your body, mind, heart, and soul from above. So it is spoken, so it is done. But sometimes it has to be done in direct, vivid, conscious expression. That's why we use spoken word, especially self-talk, talking to yourself. You can even look in the mirror and recite it. Okay, I'll do it once more. This is how you would say it to yourself. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am open to receive. I am ready. I am willing. I am able to receive. Okay? There's so much more we could do on this, but that's your little micro reading for today. Thank you very much, Amber. Hope you enjoyed that. So, Precious, are you here? I'm just going to break this up very quickly. Precious, are you here? Maybe one day I'll start doing more oracle readings again. Haven't done them in years. I'm not quite sure what to do at the moment. Give me a second here. Where did they go? Okay, so Precious, are you there? I would love to have you like present while I'm doing a reading. Tina, if you're there and you got back from your chores and you want to type in, let me know. Either way, I'd love to hear from either or both of you simultaneously or one after the other. Otherwise, in a little while, I'm just going to go and do a blind reading. Okay? I just saw something back in the chat there, Precious, that you're over in New Hampshire. Is that correct? Messages. Okay. So Amber, in future, please no more super chats. Do it all through Terra Lumination website. Go to the PayPal. It sets up a payment processor just like Super Chat. But it goes direct. And YouTube doesn't take 40%. Okay, I have no idea what's going on with Tina or Precious. What's going on, folks? I'm just going to shuffle up a little bit at the last moment. All right, Precious, I'm going to do blind reading for you. You're a very, very, very strong woman. You know that. Okay, from what I can understand, I'm just going to give myself a little quick double check. I want to go back, way back in the chat, see if I can find that thing from Precious about being in... The girls are growing into preteen attitudes. It's fun, yeah, but they are amazing. Okay. Hey, Precious, what's that? It's been a hard month. You're doing okay. Hey, Pat, I totally feel it in Canada and the U.S. We were talking about business. I know the government decided to hold my money. The cat needed the vet. My bills doubled and got to, oh man. Canada is having incredibly bad problems right now. Where is it? I'm just scrolling through chat right now. Give me a second. You're exhausted. Okay, I see that. Desperate, but I didn't mean to. Precious. Canada is plus 4 degrees. Okay. Got extremely cold in New Hampshire. Now, are you saying that because you're in New Hampshire, or because your mate, your buddy's over there? My house there cracked the foundation. Your house over there. Okay, so you're not in New Hampshire. The foundation's cracked. Oh yeah, I've seen that. And they ran out of oil in the boiler. My God. America is expensive. $800 to heat the house in Canada. It costs $149. Oh, whoa. Expensive to heat the house. Okay, $800 to heat the house. In Canada, it costs $149. Okay. Well, maybe because you're right near the what do they call it? The something tar sands. And the big oil and gas thing up there right near Edmonton. Okay, now I don't see any more notes here from Precious. So, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, oh, there she is. Relationship. Okay, so your love is over there in New Hampshire. Very, very cold. Foundation's cracking in the house. That happens up there. I used to live up in New England. Man, it can get really cold. And a lot of it, you know, what happens is you're in Canada right now, over there in Edmonton. So I'm from New England. I was born there. And, you know, I had family in construction and custom home building. And they were very, very, very tough people. Very, very hardy people. They would do construction in the middle of the winter. And they had to do very sort of advanced, cool things with the concrete to make sure that they could actually pour and work concrete in the middle of winter. Crazy stuff. The thing about New England, it has a much higher humidity, and when their moisture starts to creep into concrete, and things get very hot and then very cold, very hot, very cold after years, especially if it's an old house, and there's a concrete slab or there's like a basement kind of thing, it will crack. It'll just go because the water, when it turns to ice, it expands and it will blow concrete apart. Same thing like what you had in Edmonton, like blown pipes, blown concrete, blown plumbing, all that stuff. Okay, Precious, here we go. All right, so you're here. I thought we'd lost you for a bit. All right, what messages do we have here for Precious? You're over there in Canada. You're desperate, but you're not going to act on it. You're holding strong. It's really, really nasty the way they treated you. You're a natural gifted caregiver, and then the freaking communist people over there leading your country are, it's disgusting. All right, precious, what's going on? Let's have a look. Let's see what you're reading like here. All right, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, you've got your plate very full, obviously, and you're still dealing with the aftermath of what happened in March 2020 when the big lockdowns happened and Canada was shut down, and people like yourself decided to keep your sovereignty, your physical, biological sovereignty, and of course that led to you being pushed out of your career, work, path, income. And then you had to go through this very, very long stretch. Sounds like you're still dealing with it. Okay, let's have a look. The World card. Okay, so part of this energy is that, I said this earlier with another card, but it's like everything is exactly as it should be. Now again, with the World card, if you look closely, we do have the elements here. Like earth, air, fire, water, okay? Now with the World card, it's like it's the end of the end. It's the very, very end of the very, very end. And let's just say this is related to the Pisces new moon that's coming up. Okay, right now today we're on the full moon, so that's a process of culmination. We've just culminated in a big long cycle, and it's a super stressful cycle, and a lot of it is to do with personal finance and global finance. The Canadian economy and financial system is very, very closely tied to the American system. The American system is imploding in slow motion around you, so it is affecting Canada. And that's affecting you, precious. That's just the finances side, but also politics. And it's like some people's lives have been destroyed and changed forever. And you reach the end of a cycle, and some of it's out of your control. But you are very strong, so you're going to keep going. So it's effectively like you're, whether you like it or know it or not, you're still, in your own way, you're holding all the cards because you're very, very aware about how bad things are. But you're dealing with it. You're actually dealing with it. You're a survivor, okay? It would be nice to be a thriver, but right now you are a survivor, and you have survived some very, very nasty impositions that you did not deserve. They were imposed on you by some really vicious, nasty people dressed up in suits, pouncing around over in Ottawa, pretending like they lead your country. It's disgusting. It's grotesque the way they treated you. But it's almost like that story is over. It's almost like we have to basically say, okay, it's done. It's over. It's over. There's a big push in the United States right now in Congress to finally declare the emergency is over. Screw this bug number 19. It's over. It's done. Okay? We're moving on to a completely new chapter in world history, and that affects you too. Okay, precious? Let's have a look at the situation itself. Love and relationship. Well, you did say your love is there. So let's just say that this little Two of Cups card is a little seed of hope for you in the healing power of love. Okay? Now, the true, what do they call it? There's a word for that symbol of health. This has the two swirling snakes in the background, but the original one for actual health care is a single snake. But anyway, forget that. I think this is very much to do with you and your love over there. And despite the distance, love can travel through time and space. You already know that, okay, precious? Otherwise you wouldn't be in the situation right now. My feeling is that you are loving and you are loved. It may not be in a traditional way. You might be thousands of miles apart, but you're actually using the word love in the chat. And I don't think that you would use that unless you actually meant it. So you could have said, oh, my love interest, or my boyfriend, or my, my new fellow over in America. But you said, my love. It's really, really simple. Okay? So let's look at this as a symbol of optimism, but remember, this is still very, in its own way, very innocent, sweet, vulnerable, naive, fragile, and it could be the start of a new beginning. I think I remember a time when we did readings or work together where you were actually thinking of migrating from Edmonton to New Hampshire. So that's a big journey. I don't think we can actually see Edmonton on the map here. There's Calgary. There's Saskatoon. I think Edmonton is just about here. Okay, so this is everybody. So Precious is way up here near the Canada tar sands. That's where they have the big pipeline where they suck the oil out and ship it across America to Texas, and that's where they shut it down over here. The what they call it, the something or other pipeline. And then New Hampshire is way over here. And as you know, New Hampshire and New York and Vermont and Maine, Pennsylvania, all these areas right here had a massive, what do they call it, a weather bomb. Astronomical amounts of snow and cold. And I've dealt with that when I was a kid. I've been in these areas during astronomical snow events and really Arctic snow and cold. So anyway, that's at least 2,500 miles. But again, love does travel through time and space. And where there's a will, there's a way. Let's have a look. What's the problems here? Well, obviously you're overwhelmed, and that can actually impede your ability to move forward despite your ultimate efforts. I think you should be very concerned about your health right now. Okay, precious? Like, you're already so, let's say, overburdened, overstressed, and you've got to the point where you're probably numb to the feeling of, you're just dealing with it because that's what you do. You're a responsible parent. You've got your 3 kids, and you've had some really extreme, harsh circumstances over the last year or two. And it is almost crippling. It's almost destruction. And but it's not. You're still hanging in, but it's very, very obvious that you are under a lot of pain, a lot of stress. And it will be so nice to have some relief. So nice. Now, I don't know, what's going to happen with the love and relationship. How on earth can you migrate to New Hampshire? Is it fully set in stone? Are you going to be able to actually go there and migrate at some point? Set up a home, set up family? Does your love over there got kids of their own or anything like that? You got to look at the logistics and all of it, of course. Right now, your logistics are completely absorbed by just trying to stay alive in Canada. But there is hope, okay? It looks like you're reaching the end of a certain life chapter. It might be the end of life in Canada, because the thing about the World card, it also signals brand new beginning, okay? The end of one life. I call them lifestyle package deals, okay? Now, let's see how we're going to deal with this moving forward. Aha! So we got the Magician here. Have you ever heard of that expression, desperate people do desperate things? Sometimes in these moments of desperation, You can turn into Superwoman. Okay, let me go over here. That 10 of Wands is so overwhelming that it might be like almost crushing you the way that, Pluto energy crushes and destroys anything and everything that's irrelevant. It almost might be like an extreme distillation process, what you're living through in your life right now, where you literally had your financial foundations ripped out from under you. Then the physical foundations, the house falling apart, the black mold, the cold, the frozen pipes. Then having to live in a shelter for so long. And all of this while you're taking care of 3 kids and having little or no money. If I could have thrown money your way, I would. I sent a couple of bucks, but that didn't do much more than get a cup of coffee, okay? No, he doesn't have kids. He just wants you as a package. A package deal. Okay, I get it. So, with the Magician card, it makes me feel like people who are very strong are often the ones who are tested the most, taken to the most extremes. I'm going to talk about some particular character. It's nothing to do, but it's a very good example. There's a fellow called Donald. And he's very unique. There's almost no one like him, and I believe through the astrology, he is here from heaven as a reincarnation to do what he has to do. He's incredibly strong, incredibly powerful. He was born with Mars conjoined Pluto in Leo. And if I go into the astrology, I'm just going to... Donald is one of these people where when the going gets tough, the tough get going. The worse that things get for America, the worse that things get for Donald, the stronger he becomes, to the point where he's almost become this mythological character. He's so kind of absurdly strong and competent compared to so many others that you can't really even do a comparison. So you don't. But look at it this way. Donald has put up with so much hate. I mean, I know he's not suffering like financially. He's not losing his house or anything like that. But he has had so much hate and venom thrown at him by these demonic people who are trying to destroy him because they are threatened by his simplicity, honesty, and truth. I could talk about that with the nodal axis and everything. But the point I'm trying to get to, Precious, is that all these intense layers of pressure, it's almost like, when you create a diamond, an old-fashioned real diamond created in the dirt, deep underground, it comes through intense pressure. It takes the carbon of like nature, trees, plants, crushes it into what turns into a diamond. And it's a magnificent thing. Okay, so what I'm trying to suggest is that all of this hardship and pain and suffering is not without a reason. It's almost like it's happening not just to you, but for you, so that you can, through the very painful process of going through so much stress, you actually rise in power. You become magnificent. You become literally a magician. I mean, I cannot imagine how you do what you do. I cannot imagine it. I would have probably just curled up in a ball and just turned into a frozen lump of ice. But anyway, with the magician there, the way forward, I believe, is to sort of, what's that thing called? Die before you die. Understand that this is happening for you. And you're actually becoming more and more powerful. And then the question is, like, how do you direct the power? Okay? So instead of having to exert massive amounts of wasted power and strength just to stay alive each day, somehow or other, with this world card, new starts and new beginnings, it's going to be transcended in some kind of way where you get to enjoy the benefits of having become powerful and having the hallmarks of someone who's actually very powerful. Because you could not have survived you could not have survived this without being very powerful, very strong at the deepest core of yourself. So the Magician card is like a reminder, like, hey, precious, please do not forget how incredibly powerful and capable you are. It's because you have a massive heart. You've got the healing power of love. You've literally got a massive, massive heart energy over here. And your heart energy rules your head. Your head is not the slave of your heart. Sorry. Your heart is not the slave of your head. You did not cave to the panic. Okay? You figured it out. Your head is the slave of your heart. Your head works for your heart. So that's very, very good. That's what makes you so strong. Because you've got the love. You've got the healing power of love pulsing inside of you. It's really, really powerful, and it's there. That's what's allowed you to operate like Ten of Wands. But at some point, we need to get through all this and come out the other side. So I wish you the best with the Two of Cups and your love over in New Hampshire. And I hope things thaw and warm up soon enough for both of you. Okay? So let's go on here. Tina! She's back! All right, Tina, here we go. All right, Tina. My gosh, what an evening. It's turned into kind of a marathon evening, folks. This is our last reading for the night. Thank you for your generosity, everybody. It's a pleasure to read for you. I wish I could do more. But right now, I'm holding on like the rest of you guys, okay? Oh, I'm happy. Oh God, Tina. Everything that you've been through, I'm glad they impressed you. I do hope you like the job. I know it sounds like you're really going to be in your element, okay? It's kind of quirky how that all worked out as well. Even though I know you've been suffering with the, the financial disparity, and it's what's happening in America right now. The whole of the American real estate market is in chaos. Interest rates up through the roof. Property prices crashing. Realtors just giving up because there's no business. Very hard for sellers. It's very, very hard for people selling houses. It's very, very hard for people buying houses. Anyway, you're here. You survived. You're very, very strong, Tina. You've been through so much lately. It's just staggering. Again, I feel humbled. I feel truly humbled. Tina and Precious, the stuff that you've had to deal with. In fact, everybody here, some of you have been dealing with some incredibly challenging circumstances. Health, finance, location, whatever. All right, Tina. You want me to just go blind? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay. All right. So, okay, Tina's there. Okay. All right. So, Tina, I think I mentioned earlier the delay is very long on the show tonight. Maybe there's a lot of live streamers, or maybe the internet is completely clogged up, like the 405 in Los Angeles. So, Tina, if you don't have any particular themes and you just want me to go blind, I will do that for you. I'm ready to rumble. Here we go. KDP, may I? No, Katie, no, that's it. I can't do any more readings tonight. Katie, if you want a reading, come visit us next Sunday, okay? And put something, don't do the super chat. May I donate for one question? Okay, Katie, I could do, okay, I know, I'm very, the animal stories tonight are really heartbreaking, okay? Hope, message of hope for Tina, all right. Katie, I'm willing to do one oracle card reading for you, okay? Please don't do super chat. Please go to tarotlumination.com and do an actual PayPal donation, okay? If it's too little, too late, no problems. Please come back next Sunday, okay? Also, Katie, I don't recognize you, but who cares? You are invited to join us Thursday the 9th, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I'm going to be doing everything I do here, but in a much more private, secure setting on my Zoom. That Zoom link is available through in the description box on every video and on my channel, okay? No worries, Katie, but yeah, come back and we'll do a proper reading by donation, okay? Do it the proper way. And then life will go on from there, okay? Message of hope for Tina. Here we go. I'm going to do one last spin here, okay, for you. Katie, I've been doing this over a long time. I've done thousands of readings for tarot and for astrology, okay? And let's just keep going. All right? Thank you, Katie. I'll see how long I can keep going. Messages of hope for Tina. What kind of messages do we have here? Teal, I'm 1 hour behind you right now. It's 8:40. Okay. 7:40. Okay. Yeah, that's late. Oops, excuse me. All right, messages. What messages do we have here for Tina tonight regarding her new life just beginning? Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it, and let's have a look at external influences, most likely the planets, for example. Okay. Well, obviously, this is the ultimate card of grief. Let's just acknowledge it. It's out there. It's understandable, okay, Tina? It's just, it's like I almost don't really want to talk about it. Yes, yes, Tina, you're 1 hour. Over here in Las Vegas, it is 7:41 p.m. And if it's 8:41 for you, you're 1 hour ahead of me, okay? Jemez, New Mexico, very close to Albuquerque. So external energies right now are very understandable. You've just lost your two animals, okay? And grief energy is not something you want to hold on to. I'm not relating this with the astrology, but we could, because that big fat where was it? Where was the other chart? That big fat red triangle here is hyper stressful. And I was talking about very tragic stories earlier at the beginning of the show about the two mountain lions. Very, very sad. And a lot of these things to do with horrific stories to do with animals. We all know what we're talking about here, okay? We're talking about the mass destruction, culling and killing cows, pigs, chickens, and so on. Fishes, whales, dolphins, sharks. Massive die-offs, massive culling. It's very sad, very tragic. This is very, very tough, tragic, sad energy, if you want to look at it that way. And it affects Scorpios. You might not have seen this earlier, Tina, but I also added the Scorpio element to this big fat T-square so that people could understand the energy better. This is a very, very heavy, challenging energy, in particularly on nature. Things like animals, plant life, ocean life, animal life, wild animals and farmed animals and factory animals. There's a lot of pain and suffering and hardship going on in the animal world right now, and you've just had a double massive dose. So the grief is understandable. And it's something that has to be honored and respected. And do not be frightened of the grief energy, because you obviously loved these animals, and I'm sure they loved you very dearly. And it has to be dealt with. Okay, let's look at the situation itself, okay? Okay, well, definitely the seeds are already planted, Tina. So in terms of hope, I think you're already underway. We don't have any solid definition and clarity about the so-called future. And when you use the word hope, it's almost like you're indirectly hinting at the future, because the word hope is used to describe a desired, delightful, good, wholesome, satisfying outcome, which implies what we call the future, when there is no evidence to support the idea of good outcomes. So with the Three of Wands here, my feeling is that it's important to remind yourself that despite this intense grief, the sadness and loss, I mean, you've lost your orchids, you lost your animals, you've lost money, you've lost a property, you've had a lot of personal losses. You could have lost your own life, frankly, being stuck that night out in the snow. Right now you're lucky to be alive. I'm so glad you're here on the show tonight. The seeds are already planted, okay? My feeling is that you've already planted good seeds for a so-called, what we call a future. And now you're at this point where you literally you're observing. It's like being a farmer. You know, the seed, it takes time for the seeds to take root, absorb nutrients, and then come above the surface and have the little shoots of plant life coming to the surface, or new animal life coming to the surface, which would indicate new hope. What some people do, I don't know, maybe you're already so overwhelmed that it might not be a good idea, but some people, as soon as they've lost a loved one, like a little animal, a fish, a dog, a cat, a little goat, a little sheep, a little bird. Some people have pet cows. Some people have pet crippled animals. All these kinds of things. They immediately go out and get another one. Some people, they'll go to a mission place, or a pet rescue place, or what do they call those animal shelters, and they will wait and look at the animal, wait for a heart-to-heart connection. Okay? Anyway, I think you're already on path. The momentum is already set here. The Two of Wands was already in place in the energy. The Ace of Wands is already in place. You've already taken action. You've already acted on your dreams, hopes, wishes, and everything. And over time, you're going to see what I consider fruitful outcomes. What are the challenges here, of course? Okay, with the King of Swords here, my feeling is that one of the challenges is dealing with some of the really harsh realities of what you had to deal with, where it almost felt like it was an act of cruelty imposed upon you personally by, let's say, God or the Federal Reserve, or these, I would say, I mean, this is horrible, but these institutions that are typically associated with male plutocrats, oligarchs, tyrants, abusers, who manipulate things to be a certain way for their benefit at your expense. My feeling is that with the King of Swords here, it's a brutal, harsh reality. The truth, the facts, they are the way they are. And sometimes reality and truth and facts are very, very painful. Hint, hint, hint. That doesn't mean the show is over. Okay, we got the Pisces new moon starting soon. That could be very, let's say, indistinct about where that's going to lead or where it's going to go. You're not going to get any more dogs. Okay, I see that on the screen. You have 3 healthy ones already. That's good. Okay, so we got that issue out of the way. So, the other thing I'm sensing with the King of Swords here is something to do with authority figures. It might be male, but I'm just thinking of authority figures in general. Perhaps something to do with the workplace, where there might be some perhaps very strict conditions that go along with the new opportunities. We'll see how that plays out. And you might be scared that the conditions might be too extreme, or because you've had to deal with, let's say, deceptions and misleading circumstances and events quite a lot recently, and you're obviously sick of it. You don't need it. And you might be, let's say, a little bit scared of authorities, or let's say authority figures or institutions that, like it or not, effectively have power over you. Okay? So we need to take that into account. It would be very natural for you to be frightened, honestly. With the financial things, you couldn't control that. You can't control the Federal Reserve. You can't control the financial markets. You can't control the interest rates. You can't control inflation. But those big things have really, really hurt you personally, along with millions of others. And so it would easily trigger a deep fear and resentment and anger towards those authority figures who are supposed to have your well-being as number one priority. Why I work nights. So you can avoid those folks. Okay, so let's have a look. How are we going to deal with things going forward? Yeah! You're going to create your own modalities. Okay? This is a powerful card of hope. It's a sacred card of opportunity, new starts and new beginnings, where let's get back to absolute basics. No matter how stressful things have been, it looks like you are setting yourself up for literally new starts, new beginnings, where you're going to be much more in charge of how things actually work out, and you're going to have it's like a sliding scale. It's not absolute, but over time, instead of you having to live at the mercy of external events, people, authority figures, circumstances, and they have power over you, it's going to start to flip, where you are now going to be the one in charge of your life, where you call the shots for your life, and you are creating new paradigms, new modalities, new subjective truths about how life is going to be and how it works for you. Okay? And anyone and everything else is secondary to that, secondary to you. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this is a rude or a selfish thing. This is very much to do with with opportunity. And, you don't have to take the opportunity, but it is there. This is a chance for a really good start, creating new attitudes, new beliefs, new structures, new ways, new concepts, new belief systems going forward, because we have a long journey ahead, okay? There's going to be huge changes in America coming forward. So it's very, very important, Tina, that you eventually recover, recalibrate, trust and believe that everything's going to be okay, and the opportunity will unfold to the point where you will basically be your own master. You will be the one in charge, okay? No more living it at the mercy of others. All right? Thank you, Tina. I hope that helps you. Okay, I'm just going to tidy this up here. I'm really struggling to picture you stuck out in the snow overnight with the U-Haul and the animals. And it sounds like the orchids too. Man, I know orchids are very sensitive, so that's not surprising that they froze. Jeepers, man. Okay. Thank you, Tina. It's always a pleasure and honor to read for you. All right, I'm going to make a quick exit here. Thank you, everybody. Let's see who we got. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Necessary Truth. Thank you, Precious Moments. And thank you, I believe, to Amber. All right. Have a good night, everybody. And see you next Sunday, hopefully. But also, I'm really going to try and do this, okay? I'm going to try and do maybe like a bulk email. I've got a bunch of email addresses for most of you, and I'm going to create a little email, and it will have the Zoom link in there. And for people who are not used to this, you're going to have to find the email, the Zoom, Terra Illumination live Zoom link in the description boxes below each video or on the channel itself in the About section, okay? What a night. Be loving, be loved. Number one, love thyself. Take care, everybody. I'm just